Would you like to hear a story about how a newly hired non-family CEO of a family company was nearly fired in the first 3 months? Here's the details. Back in the 60s, a builder started a commercial real estate business and ran that company until the mid 2010s when he was 85 and needed to retire, and he worked with us to hire a successor. That successor came on board and in the first 3 months identified a warehouse that was in disrepair. There was no tenants, and they were paying a lot of taxes. It was a clear-cut situation where the business that warehouse should be put up for sale, and that type of decision is typically under the purview of a president and CEO of a commercial real estate business. However, in this case, it was not, and putting that building up for sale nearly cost the CEO his job. Why? That was where the founder had started the company. He was holding on to that warehouse for sentimental reasons, not profitable reasons. It's this type of conflict that is common in family companies, and it's one of the central reasons why new hires and new executives in particular in family companies are let go in the first year. Across the videos we're going to do this month, we're going to talk about executive integration in family companies, the common pitfalls that lead executives to exit or be exited from an organization, and how to avoid them. It's a fundamental truth that any person who comes into a new job anywhere, family company, publicly traded company, this is always true, that the new hire feels the pressure to demonstrate that they are the right person for the job. They need to deliver an ROI. In the case study of the individual selling a warehouse that we discussed last week, this person was trying to demonstrate their ROI by making sound business decisions and ultimately earning the company some revenue while offloading costs of a costly warehouse. This mindset needs to be channeled. In the traditional business world, this is more straightforward. In large public organizations, you'll see executives coming in working on a 30, 60, 90-day plan where they are getting onboarded. They're understanding the lay of the land of the culture of the business. They're getting their passcodes. They're setting up their 401k. They're meeting people, understanding the operating cadence of the business. And by day 90, 3 months in, they are at full speed. In family companies, that tends to not work very well. That pace tends to be too fast, and there isn't a structure to channel that person's behavior and their motivation to bring value to the business. And as a result of that, the individual who comes on board is left to themselves to decide what types of behaviors are going to work, and that those behaviors may or may not align with the temperament of the culture of the business and the shareholders of the company, and puts their hire at risk by making decisions that are not aligned with the interests of the owning family. We've covered two key trends. One, that any new hire feels pressure to demonstrate an ROI. And two, the common mindset of executives coming into businesses is to function on a 30, 60, 90-day plan. That 30, 60, 90-day plan, however, requires that the culture be ready to accept that pace and that there be a structure to accommodate that pace. And in most family companies, neither of those things exist. Yet, the pressure to demonstrate an ROI is still there. That's why at Strandberg, we recommend a 1-year integration plan that accommodates the change management necessary for the business of bringing in a new leader, but also allows the executive who's coming in the opportunity to earn trust and credibility with the family, the shareholders, the staff, and business partners of the enterprise in a manner that's consistent with the values of the business owners. In a nutshell, the way this works is you need to establish a vision for what the first year is. That vision is typically tied to business KPIs and living the values of the ownership of the business while building trust and credibility with the staff. You tie that to some type of deliverable and measurable metric. Business KPIs are going to be business consistent, but measurable metrics with regards to trust and credibility are a little bit more nuanced and finicky to define, but you can look at things like employee surveys and employee feedback, and even do something as simple as measuring the number of meetings the individuals had with staff and business partners to determine whether or not they are taking the time to build those relationships. The key to it is this, is that your executive is going to have a compensation policy, and we're looking at that variable incentive comp. That variable incentive needs to be tied to not just business performance, not just the shareholder return or share value, but also metrics that are tied to the values of the organization and earning trust and credibility over time. If you tie the financial performance, if you tie the variable compensation of the executive to behaviors that are consistent with the values and norms of the organization, you're incentivizing your new hires to behave in a manner that is consistent with your organization. And that de-risks the new hire and can't guarantee you that a person won't be terminated in the first year, but it greatly increases the likelihood that they will be a long-term employee for your family business. At Strandberg, we help families with executive integration on a daily basis to ensure that their executives are with them for the long term. If you'd like to learn more about this, visit our website or reach out directly and we can help talk through the situations that you're facing.